May profits be upon you. Welcome to another weekly Forex forecast. In this video, we're analyzing the US dollar, Japanese yen, the USDJPY. We'll be looking at the FXCM broker chart here. And this market was strong, man. This market was strong for a good while, had a good run, higher highs, breaking structure to make higher highs and higher lows along the way. All right. And then right around July of last year, things took a turn. Boom, right? And what did it do? It peaked below the previous swing low. That is a bearish indication here. All right. And then price pulled back and failed to make a new high. This is a swing fail. We went past the sell side liquidity, failed to go higher, and for the previous 2 months have been bearish, to include the beginning of this month. Bearish. An important point to note is we had a bearish indication here with a market structure shift from bullish to bearish bias. All right, that is another bearish indication. And when I see it, when you see price trading through a low, okay, something's not right here. I'm not sure what it is. When we see price, it's not writing. Why is it not writing? Oh, okay. Here we go. Yeah, when we see price trading through, that is bearish intent. Now, what's notable is that we are trading into an area of fair value, but because we have already took out this low here and then it had this pullback, and we see price pushing down and making a market structure shift here to the bearish side. I am not putting any stock. I'm not going to look at this market for buys. All right, I'm looking for further downside. Look at the displacement here, leaving behind a monthly fair value gap, a bearish fair value gap, as it breaks this low here. All right, this intermediate swing low. All right, this candle could very well become the CSD, the change in the state of delivery. This is a market structure shift that kind of gives me a pause on taking any more loans. Okay, now I don't know what just happened there. We went to Bitcoin, no reason for that. All right, so let's take a look at the weekly. And what we can see here is, I want to point this out. We see price took this low here as it made that impulsive move to the downside. All right, didn't trade through it, but it did run the low, took the liquidity, failed to make a higher high. All right, but it did make a high, a pullback, and a higher high, and then we broke that low. That's why I like this to the downside. All right, that's why I like this to the downside. And while price has already made a market structure shift to the downside, that's a good reason not to look for buys until it breaks structure in the other way. Until we see a market structure shift up, and then a continuation of that higher high, higher low, higher high type of deal there. But right now, we are bearish. I am bearish in bias, and even though we're going into this area of fair value, and there is a demand zone under here, I'm looking at it as it may be a speed bump. We're going to see how price reacts, and it may find its support for higher prices. But I would have expected this demand to have held for it to want to go higher. It didn't hold. Price traded through it. So I am okay, and I'm going to be looking for uh, more areas like bearish fair value gaps, so that price could use it to go lower. We're going to probably see a reaction from this demand zone here, all right, once price reaches here. But I'm looking for that fair value gap here, and maybe price will use it to go for lower prices. All right. At the very least, there is a monthly fair, sorry, there's a monthly uh, fair value gap here that price has already touched on. So this goes away really. And if price does come back up here, I would look for it to take that high here. I would look for it to take that high. And depending on how it takes that high, if it just uh, runs the liquidity, if it runs through it, that's one thing. Then I'll be looking for a price to pull back and continue higher. But if it doesn't do that, if it just wicks through, then I'm looking for price to come back down. Really, if we go to the daily, you can see I've singled out the buy up before the sell off. This is the area of fair value created. All right, price comes right back up to it. Another buy up for another sell off, and I marked that box as well. And you can see this bullish candle in here. Once it takes that low, it doesn't run it. It just takes the liquidity, pushes back up for another sell off, and I marked that box as well. So what we have here is a supply chain, and I'm looking for price to bump into this one again and continue down. All right, I'm just looking for continuation of that. All right, so that is what I'm looking for coming next week. Buy up and then push down to this demand zone. Okay, if we look at it on the 4 hour, you can see clearly. I'm not going to start thinking bullishly in this market until I see something like this high here being taken, right, and a push down where this low is being respected, and we can see another market structure shift. This would be one, this would be two market structure shifts. Is good for me to start looking for high probability trades to the upside. I'm not doing that though until I see what I just described, two market structure shifts to the upside. But what I expect next week is a wick up into this area of fair value, all right, and quite possibly to the demand zone inside of that. The supply zone inside of that area of fair value. Let me write the boom, supply zone there. All right, if price can get up there, ooh, that would be a lovely. I would be very happy to take a a a trade to the downside. I wait for price to come into contact with it. I want to see some displacement, and then the pullback is where I would want to get in for a high probability trade to the downside. All right, there's enough room for a 2 hour trade, and I will be happy to take it because it's going along with the prevailing trend. Got it? Good. If you want to take a peek at the futures version, it's just the opposite. I'm waiting for price to hit. I'm waiting for price to hit this area of fair value. There is a demand zone inside that area of fair value. Okay, and it can be refined down to here, which is the mirror image of the FX version. This is the the futures version. I'm having trouble talking, but I'm looking for price to come down into that area of demand. You know, the whole area is a sell to buy. I'm looking for price to come down, take this low out, like the red line in the FX pair. Price comes into that. I'm looking for price to continue higher into this. Not to. There's a the monthly fair value gap. I'm definitely taking that out. I would look for price to take these highs out, which is a low liquidity run in my opinion. All right, and but I want to see this high being violated. All right, because this is the area of supply on in the futures version. Yeah, let me illustrate that for you. Is the is buy up, right? The buy up before the sharp sell off. And once that high is taken out, that protected high, will be coming for that. And we are very close to that. That's a little different than the where we are in relation to the FX pair, the US dollar JPY. You see, the demand is here. That swing low is here, and we just took out the swing low. But in the futures, we're getting ready to take that swing point, swing high. We already took it. We already took the liquidity from it, but I believe we're going to pull back and continue higher, taking out this low liquidity run and go head up towards these highs because the Japanese yen is gaining strength, folks. That's the point of this. Okay. But don't get thrown off. All right. The US dollar JPY, the yen is pulling the US dollar down. It is outperforming the US dollar in this environment, the current environment. And I believe we will be taking out this area of this demand zone within this area of fair value. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you hit the like button. All right. And I would suggest you look for sells, not buys. I would suggest you look for sells in this market. May profits be upon you. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, make sure you check out the other videos I put out for the US dollar, the Euro USD, and the Pound USD. I put them out just before this one, so you want to make sure you're best prepared for the week ahead.